Picture a country with the world's largest oil reserves, an economic powerhouse. That's Venezuela. Once at the forefront of prosperity, its story took a different turn. Prices soared, jobs vanished, and money lost its value. Now imagine a chance for a turnaround. Russia and China, major players on the global stage, have teamed up with Venezuela to make things better. It's not just talk, they're rolling up their sleeves, investing in infrastructure, and collaborating on energy projects. And in today's video, we've got some interesting news about how Venezuela is set to bounce back from its economic struggles. It's not just about getting help, we're talking about real positive change. But before we start, do us a favor and hit the like button. And if you're into the world of geopolitics, make sure you're subscribed for more content like this. Without further ado, let's dive right in. On August 3rd, Venezuela officially applied to join the BRICS alliance. This move is seen as Venezuela's way of dealing with US sanctions and trying to build stronger ties with different countries. The reason it's a big deal is that right now, Venezuela is struggling to use the US dollar and access regular international banking because of restrictions imposed by the US. Venezuela sees joining BRICS as a chance to expand its trade in oil and energy, especially with countries like India and China, which are part of BRICS and have a growing demand for these resources. It's also a smart move, considering that some OPEC members like Saudi Arabia and the UAE are shifting toward renewable energy. Venezuela wants to make the most of these changing trends in the energy sector. Getting support from BRICS members would really help Venezuela's cause. It could boost their oil industry in other parts of their economy, breathing some life into it. Plus, teaming up with these powerful nations might give Venezuela other ways to handle payments that don't rely on the US dollar. But even though Venezuela is trying to use different currencies like Bolivar or its own currency and the euro, the US dollar still rules the local economy. There's also talk going around about Venezuela's possibly suggesting a military alliance within BRICS, similar to the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. This could be a way to balance out NATO's plans, especially with the US doing naval exercises in the Caribbean. It's not confirmed yet, but it's a possibility, especially considering Venezuela's recent military partnerships with countries like Iran. Currently, countries in the Middle East, Europe, Brazil, South Africa, Venezuela, Malaysia, and Turkey are considering a future where they use gold or resource-backed digital currencies, moving away from relying on the US dollar in transactions. Russia is playing a part in this by putting the brakes on US dollar transactions, trying to weaken its role. Why are they doing this? Well, countries in the global south are getting wise to the fact that the US might use the dollar as a tool for financial sanctions, just like it has with Russia and Iran. Venezuela, right at the forefront of moving away from the dollar, has taken a bold step into the realm of digital currency. They're using it to work around the limitations of the US banking system. On September 30, as reported by the Russian satellite news agency, Venezuelan authorities officially embraced the petro currency. Now, what's groundbreaking about this move is that Venezuela is the first country with a national digital currency backed by oil reserves. They're using it to settle oil transactions, aiming to break free from the blockade of the US dollar and create an oil economy. This shift has turned the country's fortunes around, moving from financial struggles restricted by the US dollar. The Venezuelan authorities have big plans, announcing the expected issuance of 100 million petro coins next. If we do the math based on a $90 per barrel on oil price, the total value of these petro coins could exceed a whopping $9 billion. According to official instructions, these virtual coins can be used for savings, circulation, and even paying wages. Venezuela has already approached various customers, including Indian Oil Corporation, asking them to pay for crude oil and petros. Despite objections from experts, President Maduro claims the currency has proven successful in daily use. This move by Venezuela to issue digital petro coins might just be the start. Their goal is crystal clear: simplify transactions and sidestep settlement restrictions imposed by the US dollar. Venezuela and Russia are really pushing ahead with their plan to reduce their reliance on the dollar. At least, that's what Venezuelan Foreign Minister Ivan Hill shared just recently. He had a meeting with his Russian counterpart, Sergei Lavrov, in Moscow, and they're all in on reinforcing the financial communication between their central banks. And get this, the Russian Mir payment system is already fully up and running throughout Venezuela. Hill even dropped the bomb that Venezuela is super keen on joining the BRICS group real soon. Lavrov, on the other side, made it clear that Russia's got their back, supporting their friend's desire to be all in on this association. Hill didn't hold back in saying that the West is trying to mess with Russia and Venezuela's sovereignty, but they're not having it. According to him, Moscow and Caracas are set on protecting their bilateral relations and won't let any one-sided restrictions get in their way. In fact, they've gone ahead and sealed the deal on some pretty important agreements to counteract the impact of the West's whole sanctions policy. So it looks like Venezuela and Russia are playing hardball when it comes to protecting their interests. On the other hand, Chinese President Xi Jinping and Venezuela counterpart Nicolas Maduro recently signed a bunch of cooperation agreements in Beijing. This shines a light on how things are shifting globally. China is all about partnerships that keep economies stable, showing they're serious about helping the world recover economically. These agreements are a big deal, covering everything from trade to the economy and tourism. They're calling it an all-weather strategic partnership, basically saying they're committed to helping each other out no matter what. China and Venezuela getting closer is part of this bigger trend where countries are teaming up in new ways. Economic teamwork is a major part of this new phase. These agreements are meant to make Venezuela's connection with China, their major trading buddy, even stronger. They're looking at investing in stuff like building things and digging for oil and gas. When President Maduro was in China, he talked about how this marks the beginning of a new era for both countries. Venezuela, dealing with some economic struggles, sees China as a solid friend that can help them bounce back. China, on the other hand, sees Venezuela as a key pal in the region and a great source of natural resources. Now, this partnership on energy between China and Venezuela isn't just a small thing. China putting money into Venezuela's oil scene could make oil prices steady and make sure there's always enough oil for everyone. Besides energy, both countries want to work together more on different economic stuff. Venezuela could learn a lot from China's tricks in farming and building things, making it less dependent on other countries for food. They're also looking at tourism, making it easier for people to travel between two countries and share their cultures. But it's not just about money and business. China and Venezuela want to support each other in politics and strategy too. They have stated that they won't get involved with each other's internal affairs and that they are all committed to working together in global forums. It's part of China's plan to have a world with lots of powerful players, not just one or two. And there's a bigger picture here. China and Venezuela working together is part of this thing called the Belt and Road Initiative, or BRI. The idea is to build a big network connecting economies and infrastructure across Asia, Europe, Africa, and Latin America. If Venezuela gets more involved through this initiative, it could open up new chances for trade and investment. So one of the cool things about China and Venezuela teaming up is that it might help Venezuela's economy get back on its feet. Venezuela has been dealing with some serious economic issues lately, like super high inflation, financial troubles, and political unrest. China's help could bring stability, jobs, and better living conditions. So in the grand scheme of things, this connection between China and Venezuela is a pretty big deal in how the world's politics and economies are shifting. As we wrap up our discussion on Venezuela's potential comeback, we're genuinely interested in your thoughts. Feel free to drop your perspective in the comments. Your insights truly matter. And hey, if you're into the whole economics and world politics scene, great news! We have more videos coming your way just for you. So stay tuned and catch you in the next one.